with Emerson.
Hey, Coach. I hate for this to be a leadoff question, really, but I was just went back and looked at the James Cook reception in the Auburn game. Did you have any idea whether you should? What were your thoughts on reviewing that during the game? And going back and looking at it, it looked like that he might have been in bounds on that catch. What did you guys see on the coach's copy?
Well, we thought that I got told from the box that they thought he caught it, but I was trying to ask the official because they typically review those, so you don't have to burn your challenge or anything like that because they're reviewing every play. And the official on my side just said that he dropped the ball when he landed. We went out of bounds. He never had possession of it, but I don't know. The coach's copy, it was hard to tell what happened on it. It was James thought he caught it, but I don't know that he would have had the first down. Maybe you know better than me. I thought he would have been like right at it, right just short, and we'd have had a tough call to make because the point differential there was worth the 2 score. That was the big decision. But we'd already decided if Zamir didn't score on his, we were going to go for it on the one that he broke loose because the point differential was completely different. So that 3 points was big to make it a 2-score game.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Kirby, defensive, I guess, philosophy question. I know there's the push and pull on whether you want to be aggressive against the pass or help the defense out with numbers. How easy is the front 3-4 making it this year to where you can get a pass rush without having to send 5-6 guys every time and have these exotic blitzes on every down?
Well, I mean, there's several games they've gotten a lot of pressure. We haven't pressured a lot this year at all, but we really didn't pressure a lot last year. We've gone away from, there's a lot more move in NFL football with offenses. Offenses have gotten more complicated. They're different. A lot of simulated pressures. So it means you bring somebody and drop somebody, which some people would call a fire zone, but we call them simulated pressures because it's usually only 4 guys rushing, sometimes 3 guys rushing, and they allow you to play simpler coverages where you don't have to get really complicated and worry about a bust. And the front has helped us do that, but we've changed a little bit philosophically. Whether we got a great front 7, an average front 7, or a poor front 7, we'd probably be doing what we're doing. So it's not a matter of them changing us. It's more what we have to do to defend these type offenses.
Okay, let's go back to Dean Legge, and then we'll go to Mike Griffith.
Sorry about that. Kirby, y'all played 6 games and had 14 different captains. What does that say about your program? Only 3 guys have repeated at that. And also on top of that, how does one earn being a captain in your program?
Well, you have to be accountable. You have to be have a voice of leadership. You have to have earned it in the off season, and we've probably got a lot of guys deserving that haven't done it because we've got some really good leaders. But we talk about it each week. Somebody that we think has to positively affect somebody that has to play really well that week, or maybe they're from that state. A lot of different ways to go about being the captain, but ultimately, I want them to be able to affect the other players and have an effect on them. And we let them share messages and talk throughout the week, and they take a lot of ownership in it. And I'm very happy that we got the guys we've got that can kind of share that role and share that burden. You want your best ones always out there, but sometimes it's hard for us to figure out who the best ones are.
Kirby, could you update us on the injury front as far as guys that are getting back working and whatnot?
Yeah, Amir Speed doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it back this week. Dom still not back. Rosemy, I think, looks good this week. He's taking a lot of reps. He's been working. Like I said, I thought he looked good in warm-ups the other day. It's the hope that we had when he was warming up. Jermaine Burton's done well and repped, and he hasn't taken the volume that he would normally take, but he's hitting his speeds. So I feel good about him. God knows there's so many. I can't even think of the rest of them. Chris Smith's been able to practice, but he's in a black jersey. He's not contact right now, but he's moving good and staying in shape. Jamari's kind of the same way. He's conditioning and working out, and watching the periods and think he's going to be good, but he's not able to take all his reps. I think that's it. I don't know.
Could I ask just for an interpretation, that is fire zone not the same thing as zone blitz?
Fire zone is zone blitz. Simulated pressure is not fire zone. Simulated pressure is you're simulating that you're pressuring, but you're really not, because you're only rushing 4. Fire zone is zone blitz, and you're rushing 5 usually. But simulated pressure is rushing 4, and there's a lot more people doing that than there are rushing 5. And look, offenses have morphed, guys. You rush 5 guys or 6 guys, they're just going to throw the ball out to a relief. I mean, it makes no sense to run it, because you're not going to be right. They're not going to like hand the ball off unless you rush 5 and 6 guys. They're going to throw it out to a flare, and then you're short a man. So you're constantly trying to calculate a way to get pressure, but not take the risk where they just spit the ball out and it's on the perimeter and you don't have anybody to tackle.
Right, next question to Anthony Dasher, and then on deck be Mark Weiser.
Hey, Coach. Once Jamari came out, how did you think the offensive line performed? I know you put Broderick opposite at left tackle, but got an extended look. How do you think they performed from that point on?
Competed well, really physical. It became a different kind of game at that point. I mean, I forget exactly when Jamari went out. I know it was first half. So, but in the second half, it really became a physical game. And I thought they played really hard. All those guys played really physical, but they're going to face a different kind of defense this week than last week. Auburn was probably a little bit undersized and really quick and athletic. These guys are big physical guys at Kentucky. They got a lot of size, a lot of different looks too, where defensively they throw a lot of different looks at you.
Kirby, is Tyke, at 100%? I know he played last week, and is he ready for a bigger workload on defense in terms of knowing the system and knowing responsibilities?
Oh, he knows the defense. He's very bright. He's intelligent. I don't know that he's 100%. No, he's been out there. He's been practicing. He's been competing, but it's just tough when you come back on that injury. And Darnell's a little bit different, because the quick twitch and the speed is not as critical with Darnell. He's able to play with power on a lot of plays, and Tyke has to be able to run, cover, do all those things. And again, I thought he had nice practices last week, and we were able to get him in some. He covered 3 or 4 kickoffs. He made a nice play on kickoff, and hopefully he's in better shape this week.
All right, next question to Jake Rowe, and then to Tyler Griffith.
Kirby, Lab McConkey, obviously he's a guy that, you were kind of praising before this past week, and talking about the respect that the players have for him. And then, he comes out with a big game like this. What was it kind of this spring, this preseason, this, early on this season that kind of earned him the opportunity that he's gotten? What was kind of his practice habits and his kind of, like his moment that you guys realized that, hey, this guy's ready to play and he's ready to help us a lot?
Yeah, he did it all last year. He was on the scout team last year with the wideouts we had, and I thought he was a really good player. We take reps. He went against all those really good players we had last year in the secondary, and I knew he was going to be a good player then. And a couple times last year that he got in the rotation, and he was working with the 2s and 3s, and I can't remember what happened. He got dinged up, or I can't remember what it was. But I remember he sent me a text, and he was like, "What do I got to do to get back where I was?" And I just told him, keep working. And in spring, he got a lot of opportunities. He made a lot of plays in the spring, made plays in the spring game, and he made plays in fall camp, and he made plays in the summer. He's a playmaker, and he's done a good job. You can count on Lad to be full speed all the time. So I just think he's a good football player, and he gives you everything he's got every day.
Nakobe Dean looks like he's having a lot of success flying around the field, blitzing from the middle linebacker spot and in coverage. Can you just talk about his development and how important he is to the defense? Yeah, he's a signal caller. He makes all the calls. He's a tremendous leader. When he speaks, people listen. Plays so hard, practices so hard. You see why he plays well, because of the way he practices. And he embodies what we want a great leader to be at the University of Georgia in terms of academics, on the field, off the field, just outstanding young man all the way around. And he's gotten so much better. And we're able to give him a lot of calls and commands that make us right.
And the way offenses are, Nakobe's really smart. He can put us in the right call like a quarterback does a lot of times.
Okay, let's go to Palmer Toms, and then we'll come back to Davis Baker.
Yeah, Kirby, having gone back and watched the film, how did you assess the play of Broderick Jones? And is this a situation that might allow Jamari to bump back inside some?
Broderick did a nice job. Broderick came in, and that's part of the reason we've been developing Broderick was that we think he's a talented player. Jamari's played really well at tackle for a long time in the SEC, and we'll put the best 5 out there that give us the best chance to win.
Hey, Coach, what do you think's made Chris Rodriguez so successful so far this season, and what do you need to see specifically from your run defense to limit his impact?
Yeah, he's super physical. Dude is one of the hardest runners in our conference. His pad level, his strain, his drive, his power, it's like hitting a brick, man. He doesn't people bounce off him, and they have for years. And I told our guys, you got to get his cleats out of the ground, man, because he's not stopping. And yards after contact is why they don't have a very long second long reel. Their second 7 to 10 reel was shorter than anybody we've ever faced because they don't get in them. And he's a really thick, heavy back that you got to be a willing tackler. He gets to the second level quick.
All right, let's go to David Pascal, and then we'll come back to Lance McCurley.
Hey, Kirby, you said a time or two recently that this is a team without stars. I was wondering if you've ever had this dynamic as an SEC coach, and I'm wondering how is it different from your second year here when you had Nick and Sony and Roquan? Is it just kind of a different dynamic for you personally?
Not really, because I don't ever think of the players as stars. I don't see it that way. I just see it as a team without an ego, and they buy in, and we've got good football players. By all means, we got good football players. We got guys that are going to be draft picks, but we don't have a guy that's. I don't feel like we've ever had that guy, because even with Nick and Sony, they shared a lot of that spotlight, and I don't get into the star part. I sell team values, and we do that through the off season, and I feel like this group has really bought into that. They don't really want that. There's nobody out there that's saying, look at me, I need more attention. They deflect it. I mean, they don't want to go do the media. They don't want to go do those things. They want to win is what they want to do, and that's what matters.
Hey, Coach, what are some things that you've seen on film from this Kentucky team in 2021 that might differ from their 2020 tape?
You asked again, how are they different this year than last year?
Maybe the play of their offensive line and how their defense has been able to hold guys at the line of scrimmage throughout the past couple games.
Yeah, their defense has always been tremendous to me. I mean, they had I don't know how many guys they had drafted last year. They had an unbelievable defense. They got a lot of those guys back, and the biggest difference in their team is the quarterback and their offensive system is different. They've always been physical. Their offensive line last year was physical. We lost 3 or 4 D linemen in the game. And at one time we were playing 3 true freshmen out there. And it's just bloody when you go play against these guys. And it's both ways. And I got a lot of respect for the way they play. So they're last year's team physicality wise, but they've got a lot of weapons, starting with the quarterback and Wandale, where they got tremendous talent all around those guys.
All right, we got time for 2 more questions. We'll open up to anyone.
Coach, I wanted to follow up with Chris Rodriguez. What was y'all's recruiting involvement with him, if any?
Went a lot. I mean, I remember him coming out. We evaluated him, looked at him, and to be honest, I don't remember which class he was in, who we signed that year. But we evaluated him, talked about him, and he's a really good back. He really fits what they do in terms of downhill physicality, punishing running.
Kirby, what has JT been able to do so far this week?
He got to throw a lot on Monday. So Monday he threw, I want to say 30 or 40 balls, and he got upwards of 30 yards, felt pretty good, took some snaps. We didn't do a whole bunch Monday. We didn't do as much as we normally do. And then today, he probably didn't do as much. And so he was a little more limited. He took some snaps. He threw the ball some, but we're kind of going off Ron's protocol. He has him on a pitch count daily, following that. And then we check and see if he swells or if he has any soreness after it. And good news is he hasn't had any soreness the last 2 days, not extensive soreness. And we were able to go back the next day and continue to get some, but he hadn't been able to do a whole lot, a little more than he did the week before.
Thank you, Coach Smart.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.